In my experience is that, most successful organizations and leaders, are not fearful of making changes, but they have to have a construct to institute these changes. So, so why is organizational change management important?
I think it's very important so that leadership knows what they can expect out of the CDO's efforts, and staff can understand what's in it for them to change. So what about the proposed changes will truly make their lives better? It's important not to oversell the effort before it's begun, but you need to manage those expectations of what's possible. I feel like it's a communications exercise in expectations management, really.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a formal plan. In our organization, it's more about reading our customers up, reading our customers down, and then communicating with them in a way that ensures they're all prepared to hear our message, and that it's a message that's also in line with their goals. And because anything outside of that just wastes everybody's time.
Right. And, and a follow up to that is, at a high level, you have to get into a lot of detail, but what are some of the key steps in your mind, for effective, organizational change management?
Sure. I would say the first and probably the most important step is reading the culture of the organization. If you don't understand your organization's culture and subcultures, it's very likely that what you seek to change won't last. Even if you're able to force it on people, it won't likely last beyond a certain period of time. And I think the second step then is to find ways to take what you want to do and see how that best works in your organization and their culture, or the culture you're part of. Because there's no one size fits all approach, and instituting a data policy or an inventory can happen in many ways. I think figuring out how to approach a project in a way that the organization will receive starts by managing your own expectations first, not presuming that your preconceived notions of what will work in a given organization. And then you create your approach based on what you want to do in conjunction with the culture says what they're ready for. I think that's the hardest step to figure out, and it sometimes results in failure. So I think it's important. I would say step 3 is be prepared to fail, but also be prepared to iterate. And if you're doing step 1 and step 2 properly, reading the culture and adjusting expectations on your end and on the consumer end, if or really when you fail, it's not a massive long-term expensive project that doesn't work. It's more than nuances. And you need to learn what worked in the first try, what didn't work, and then what can be improved in the next attempt. And it's an iterative process that can be quite lengthy. There are many exogenous factors that come into play. Some of them are always in flux, like budget or the quality of the IT work, larger organizational goals, larger federal government culture change from administration to administration. And you have to be prepared to add those into the equation as well. Once you've done that homework, I think the final step is finding your point of traction and just executing in a slow and steady manner. So for example, in setting data policy, we're finding bits of policy that are useful to the staff and then building on that. So it's really about doing a lot of homework and then implementing in a slow and steady manner that is responsive to the needs of the organization.
Yeah, and that's great guidance, and really hits right on target of really what organizations should be thinking about as they're starting their digital transformation.